What's good, superstars? Back with another VV Omi live stream video. Got to talk about yesterday's video. But before you do that, if you haven't already, don't forget, become a superstar. Smash the subscribe button down below. But Rob, don't forget the punches. You know, we're live, so sometimes we make some mistakes and we go early. But I was thinking about your sparkle hat over there, and I didn't want to knock it off, so I didn't want to punch you right away. But now you guys can go become a superstar. Smash the subscribe button down below. Hit the bell notification. You know, whenever we post a live stream on a Saturday, just because and we got company already. Pasternak in the building. Superstar VIP, $2.99 a month. Hit the join button in the video. Get one of these stars next to your name. Enter the giveaways. Got to do some gifting. Been getting some wallets in the DM, so now we can start to send some of the gifts out. But you can follow us on X, follow us on Instagram. Join the Discord. Actually, follow us on X if you want to watch all the drama play out, because whenever we post a video, you get the people going on our titles, on our thumbnails. I thought yesterday we had great title and great thumbnail. We'll talk about that. And the Discord is another place where you can continue the conversation if you don't want to be getting into all the drama that X brings. Obviously, a lot of people are keyboard warriors on X. In Discord, it's a little bit more civil, I would say. Some people do get up in the fields, but it's not really that serious over there. So definitely check that out as well.
Our Discord's over 380 superstar strongs. Make sure you guys join it. I don't think we've ever blocked anybody ever. It's never happened. So it's a place you can come and interact, and everyone's very, very courteous. Everyone's been pretty respectful in their conversation. It's also how we run all our affiliate programs. Make sure if you guys go in there, use any of our affiliate links, you can always let us know so we can get you some stars for some potential gifts at the end of the month. We love the end of the month with the gifting that we do. So appreciate you all.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to pull something up here. I think I can do it like this. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, let's pull this up here. And this is yesterday's video. We did, it was about how Vivi is nearing the ditch of the Omi token. And a lot of people were upset by that title. Rob, they were like, Vivi is not ditching the Omi token. It's not going to happen. I think we got to understand something here, okay? Because there's two ways to look at this, and we've done a video on both sides. We've done a video about Vivi will never ditch the Omi token, and now we're doing a video about Vivi is getting close to completely ditching the Omi token. How can they both be true, Rob? Do you want to start? You want to start here?
Yeah, I do want to address this. So yeah, I find it funny though, because today's been a day of discussion about clickbait, right? Clickbait. We have to do these videos every once in a while. We do not clickbait. Everything that we discuss in the video directly relates to the title. So yesterday we did a title talking about the ditching of the Omi token. And the reason for that, not to go into as much detail as we did last time, was because we know that there's an interest, and we suspect as it relates to the Dapper settlement. Dapper Labs had a settlement with their association with the Flow token and their users, talking about how their NFTs were too close and connected. And they basically treated them as a common enterprise, that they relied on them to appreciate the value of their NFTs. So a discussion then went throughout the space about how maybe you do not want to connect your cryptocurrency to your NFTs if you are the person responsible for the cryptocurrency and NFT. One more thing to mention is that Flow also had a blockchain that they operated. Vivi doesn't quite have that third extra piece there, which is that the blockchain is also operated by Vivi. So we think, and I think we backed it up in that video with tweets that we saw, that the interest eventually will be that the Vivi app itself will no longer directly operate at all with the Omi token. And what spurred this was the fact that the reserve wallet was going to be completely sent to the burn wallet. And the reason why the reserve wallet mattered was because originally the idea was that every gem was backed by the same amount of Omi, and that Omi would be the currency of the Vivi app. So we speculated at that point that now that it's no longer necessary, that they are going to, this is another step forward to completely ditching the Omi token. Now, what people, they were very upset by that title because we all know that by extension, Vivi will still offer utility and accept utility, albeit though through a third-party app. So we are speculating that the third-party app will be Stacker in full, and that Stacker will allow and connect with the Vivi database. Who owns what? and start providing benefits. And that's the utility. That benefit could be MCP, for example. That benefit we know for sure will be OMI to NFT, so that Vivi operates a utility program through MCP points instead of OMI. And if you do own OMI, you're going to go to a third-party place so that the app can completely ditch it in that sense, while at the same time never ditching the by extension utility that could be offered somewhere else. So they have at least an arm's reach distance where they can always say to anyone who asks, our app itself does not need OMI to operate. This is where the two things can be true. And I'm going to bring up a message I just responded to right now, or I explained this. It was from Mass OMI. I don't know. I responded to him directly here, where he played a clip of us discussing this, because we know that in the original ICO, they made these commitments that the OMI token will be this. We had a discussion about what would be the consequences if they completely, truly stopped offering utility of any kind to the OMI token. And that video was titled, Vivi will never drop the OMI token. That is still true, despite yesterday's title saying Vivi will fully ditch the OMI token. And for those reasons that I just explained. So you could have both of those statements being completely true, although at first glance, if you don't know the details, you might think they're contradictory, but they're actually not. They will never ditch it because they have obligations from the original drop, but they're going to do it in a way where I think, based on the current regulations, they kind of create a moat around the Vivi app saying, well, we don't actually rely on an OMI token. We don't rely on any cryptocurrency. We don't need that. This app can operate without it entirely. However, all you OMI token holders who bought originally thinking that the app will be directly used, we are still going to give you utility, but it's going to be done through a third-party app. So I think this is where the confusion is happening. And ultimately, it's not clickbait because both statements are actually true, although it may seem like they contradict each other.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because the ones that make the claims are usually the ones that don't watch the vids, and I think that each time that we've made these types of video, this one here actually looks like he watched it. He watched the previous. I think he's just comparing the previous title to the new title, but the case is made for both. You just mentioned it about how the app is probably going to ditch the OMI token, but at the same time, the entire ecosystem will not, because of all prior commitments that were made early on in the ICO and all that stuff. So I think that's where we got the title today. Ignorance is bliss. Some people, they just want to not read or not see things that maybe they don't want to know more information about. But so this way, I feel better about it. I feel better about everything because I don't know all of the details, because I've ignored certain things or certain titles or certain whatever. I think we got to do a deep dive on clickbaits, though. Like, clickbaits usually means like you're posting something and then talking about something else. Like, you're just getting out there. Oh, like they're talking about Taylor Swift today. Put Taylor Swift in the thumbnail. Still click it, and then there's no talking about Taylor Swift in the video. That's like more of what a clickbait actually is, at least in my opinion. Every video I believe on this channel, except for one where we said we were leaving YouTube, every video has been not clickbait. Everything's been exactly, we make a title, we talk about that title in the video. We pride ourselves on talking about whatever we put into that title of the video, because everybody has an opinion too. So that's the other thing you got to remember on this channel. We don't always speak only our opinion. We speak up for the community's opinions that we receive in the DMs, we receive on Discord, we receive on Twitter. We have a video suggestion tab on our Discord where people give us ideas, talk about this topic. Every time we make a video, we talk about that topic. If you don't like the title, you tell me why you don't like the title. What's the problem? Why don't you like what we're talking about? Because yesterday's video, Vivi moves one step closer to ditching the OMI token, is a very real situation. Very, very real. If you watch a video, very real. Actually, there's tweets out there from a Comey employee saying you're going to take all of your OMI off of the Vivi app and you're going to put it on Stacker. And there's going to be a time where you get no utility for the OMI on Vivi. Actually, I think they're going to even completely make you take it off, because that seems to be what this company does for all kinds of different things, and even just the space in general. When it comes to crypto, it comes to NFTs, we had to just do it for Flow. We had to take our Flow out of the Dapper wallet and put it onto a Flow wallet. And if you're not paying attention, then that could be a problem for you. So I think that is going to happen. I think that you're going to want to be paying attention to your emails and to the correspondence. There is an AMA coming up on the 18th of September. Foster's doing that, so shout out to him. We've been calling for AMAs from the company. VV more directly we're hoping for, but having an Ecomi AMA is still great. And we do have questions that I think we will try to ask at that AMA if we get the opportunity. But I mean, that we mentioned at the end of yesterday's video, Ecomi looks like they kind of do have a roadmap now. The roadmap is get Omi off of the VV app. Get it off. Get it completely disconnected, because they know that there's regulations, and all of these different things that could happen by having it there. Get it all through Stacker. Deal with it that way. Third party. Be safe. We do all that stuff. But yesterday's video, we stand by the title. We stand by the content within it. If you watched it, you understand. If you didn't watch it, ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, I mean, ignorance is bliss, because I can pull up right now, but show as like he does support us. He watches our stuff, but it's funny he said that, because he was saying that he's not going to watch it because he doesn't want to support clickbait. So I said, well, then I'm telling you, just watch it because we're asking you to. So don't worry about the clickbait. But he said, okay, I'll watch another one. I'm not watching this one. That's fine. But that's what he said. I prefer to be ignorant because the ignorance is bliss. I'd rather just not even know what the video says. I'll just go off the title. And sometimes that is the easy way to go. I mean, you know, we're not actually here, I think, to convince anyone anything. I think the goal is ultimately to just put on the thinking cap and just think outside of maybe what you think one opinion may be, and just kind of open your ears to everything else. And the reason why we say ignorance is bliss, because often we do get comments of those who don't want to watch the video, but they do want to have, they want to express themselves based on a title which might bring up some emotion. And that's why they call it clickbait, right? It doesn't matter if the video talks about it or not. The reason why it's clickbait is because they from their definition, they read the title, it created some kind of emotion, and therefore it's defined as clickbait, right? I want to say one more thing, Joe. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, it's just funny, like sometimes how people receive titles differently. Like some people are out there like, oh, I see what you did there, and then other people are like, oh, I hate this because of the title, and it's like, why isn't automatically a negative title if it's talking about Omi and VV being separated? What if that's the best course for VV or the best course for Omi, as discussed in the video? Like, how is that a negative if it's the best course? If you're becoming regulatory compliant, how is that a negative? So, like, you got to really think about it that way too sometimes. Like, maybe it's not necessarily as negative as you think just off first glance. And I mean, what do they say? Don't judge a book by its cover. Don't judge a video by its title or thumbnail, even though it is absolutely not clickbait. And I think we got to start putting that in the thumbnail, like not clickbait brackets, so that people know it's not clickbait, because then they assume it's clickbait after the fact. And it's just like, it's a cycle of clickbait accusations and us saying, no, it's not clickbait. We don't clickbait.
So I wanted to go back to the Dapper. I think Dapper is really leading the space. I think everybody in the space is literally watching Dapper. Yeah. And they just basically are seeing how things are going down. And then from there, they're going to make decisions on how to react. So I think at this point, I mean, it's pretty clear that VV is taking that direction. I think what's upsetting people, though, is that when you see that VV moves closer to fully ditching the Omi token, they are thinking, when they read that title, that it also means that they will not offer utility of any kind. That's the part where I think the anger comes, because they are still going to offer utility. And we never suggested in that situation, or in this video, that they were going to not offer utility, but it's not going to be the way that they originally thought, with this whole ecosystem in the background, you know, gems being backed by Omi and all these things. It's going to be different. It might be MCP. Maybe MCP will function as what Omi was going to originally function as. Like, we haven't seen it rolled out yet. And Dapper has literally told everybody, if you have any flow token whatsoever in your Dapper wallet, you got to get it out, because we're not going to allow that anymore. So that is proof that it is possible that the VV may take the same situation when Omi is being held or housed within their app. They may not want it, just like how Dapper doesn't want any flow at all housed in their app as a result of the settlement that they made within their lawsuit. And again, VV, I think, has the benefit of not being to the same scale as Dapper, right? So they're able to watch, see what happens, and adapt. So that's why I don't think this is a negative title at all. I think it was received quite negatively by many Omi token. I'm not going to call them moon boys, but, like, you know, people who think that, you know, Omi is at, maybe they're feared its risk of losing utility. But I think it's actually a positive if Vivi moves closer to fully ditching the OMI token, because we know now that they're not really going to be able to continue doing that if they saw what happened on Dapper, right? I mean, they could keep doing it, but I think they're looking across the pond and seeing what's happening throughout the space. And they're saying, maybe it's better we don't do it that way. And I think what is absolutely necessary is they can never ditch the burn mechanisms. I think as long as they are able to provide burns the way that they originally said they wanted to, they will still be able to deliver on what they originally said they wanted, what their goal was with the OMI token. Because if the VV app is structured in a way that it doesn't need the OMI token, that's actually a good thing based on what we saw over on the Dapper side. And that goes to the same thing that we talked about third-party marketplace. We talked about ghost token capability. I mean, if they're going to trust, Stacker to be like that one-stop place, then they actually could greatly benefit from what we saw with Cryptoids and the whole ghost token situation. They might be able to do something even different than what they did because of the way that they're structuring it with Stacker. Stacker seems to be not just any third-party marketplace like Rarible, but one that's like intimately connected within the company. Maybe they'll be able to do it in such a way where it'll be even different than what we've already seen. But either way, they have their obligations. They're going to have to deliver on those obligations, most likely through a third-party market app, right? MCP, OMI NFT. They're going to have to find burns some way or another. They're not going to get away from those burns. They need burn mechanisms. It's just the way they go about it may not be as effective as they originally had it planned, where you're in the VV app, you can buy OMI in the VV app, and you can do things. And we don't know this for sure. It's speculation, but I have a feeling from what we're seeing, we probably won't see a day where you can go in the OMI app itself and buy OMI, the VV app itself and buy anything with OMI. But that doesn't mean you can't do it in a third-party marketplace.
Yeah, I wonder if there's going to be like any regulations around how they're connected or whatnot. Like, can you log in literally with your VV account or whatever on Stacker? I guess where you just like use your username and stuff, and then it connects that way, because is that still like technically in-house just under a different app? I know that with some other third-party marketplaces, literally you're connecting with your MetaMask wallet, which is a third-party way to log in. Obviously, though, Stacker has the access to the API, which is direct access into the VV app. So I don't know how that works, if that's the same way, because obviously Flow and Dapper, they've completely separated. Like, it's 100% separate. You're not logging in with your Dapper credentials onto any other platform. So I don't know if it's going to work the same way here. It's yet to be seen. Obviously, some people are in the beta. I guess some of the OMI whales or whatever, and they're trying out the OMI NFT. I still am very, very hesitant to believe that anybody's going to use OMI to buy any NFTs. If you think about it, like just thinking about it high level here, you bought OMI at whatever, 0.008, 0.007 for like 90% of people who've been here since 2021, 2022, like the high double zeros. And then now we're down in the low triple zeros. And you're telling me down 90%, you're going to go and spend your OMI that you are holding on to, hoping that it recovers, to buy NFTs that have been proven to decay in value over time. I don't see it happening. I just see people saying, you know what, I'm going to let everyone else do that because I have the option to buy with fiat if I want to, if I really like a collectible. And I'm going to hold on to my OMI bag in hopes that the burn mechanisms come and become rolled out, and we start to see that happen. So I think OMI NFT may be a little bit overblown. Having it outside of that main app might be another thing that brings down the effectiveness of it. But I think it's a necessity, as we talked about yesterday's video. I mean, it's just something that it was interesting to see the commentary, and we definitely wanted to talk about it today. Maybe you could say what up to the people in the chat here, Rob.
All right, sure. I can add to that, but we'll say hello first.
Yeah.
What's up, Pasternak? How you doing? Thanks for coming by. Let's go. NFT 2021, always coming around in the comments. Thanks for coming. Actually, I agree. Everybody join Biscuits Discord, like number one, baby. I don't know. I don't think I've seen the name NFTs 2021 in our Discord, but yes, there's no way you got blocked because we blocked.
You have a different handle?
You must have a different handle. You can let us know what that is. Sub Superstars. Booth, what's up? Pastor, remember when we talked about NFTs, we were looking forward to dropping well, pretty much everything I wanted is out. I just need to stack my favorite FAs. Yes, if you're into VV specific collectibles and you're like those FAs, then for sure a lot has come out. What's up, Uncle Jay? Thanks for coming by. What's up, Video Shane? Thanks for coming by. What's up, Rich? Thanks for coming by. Sleeping Comics. Clickbait for the win. Remember, we don't clickbait.
Sleeping clickbaits though.
TK, hello all. Biscuits, how you doing? When Pokemon low, what's up, everyone?
There's some clickbait.
I've always done way better flipping NFTs and buying crypto. Fair enough. And then we got Happy Weekend Superstars, and then we got Keyboard Warriors here. Mass only.
Hey, so you know what though? Actually, for once, a response to us had some video clip on it. Like this is the one that he posted the clip, right?
I mean, if Mass Murders is the same one, thanks for coming by because
he's saying he's Mass Omi.
Yeah, right? Thanks for coming by. We just discussed this. I responded to you below, and I explained how both of them at the same time can still be true. But we respect the response. You didn't just make a statement. You provided a screenshot and a discussion directly about your point. And of course, we responded to it. But we prefer that. We don't like when people come on and just say clickbait, but they don't watch the video. At least watch the video before you make those statements. So, I mean, that we just went over it. I don't know if you were here when we talked about it. You can go back. And if you, since we're live, you can ask anything you want right now, since you're here, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like this has been something that's been going on for a long time. The clickbait battles. I think we've done this now for like I don't even know how long. I think since
keep that up there. Just trigger as many.
since the beginning of our channel, I think we've had to go back and forth over this clickbait discussion. And then ultimately, if ignorance is bliss, is it better sometimes just to look at the title and just completely forget the content? Maybe it's too much work. We had someone say before, they're just not into video content. It's too long form. They don't feel like watching it. And they would rather have a point made about what they interpret the title to be than to actually watch it. But yeah, we keep curious to know you guys below as well. If you guys have any thoughts on that, you guys can tell us below. All right, we got Arhel here. I hope people don't lose much money and Omi does okay on its own. But I'm glad if Omi and VV do separate. Well, this is the thing. Like, I think the goal I mean, obviously the team has lots of Omi, and it makes sense if they can find ways to create burns. They themselves have a vested interest in Omi doing well. But I think the first thing they need to focus on is just the utility. Like, just get the utility to work. That needs to be the goal right now. Any utility is good utility. It makes people want it. It makes people want to use the token for literally any reason but flipping. Because right now, really, that's the thing that drives Omi. It's the flipping aspect. If a meme coins, remember when all the meme coins went on a run in February? You know, a lot of people were loving it. But there eventually needs to be, I think, a transition to where people are no longer buying it just solely for that flipping aspect. They're buying it because of any unique utilities that can be offered through that coin and that coin alone. When we talk about buying Omi to NFT, in theory, it can be any crypto to NFT, which is something that was on the roadmap. Once you have that, really anything can be used, and you don't exclusively need Omi to buy NFTs. And I believe that will happen because it was something that was on the original kind of roadmap of how the system was going to be, and the fees from that was going to be used to help fund the burning of Omi. But once people are starting to buy these things because they want additional utilities, and I think right now the key thing is the 10 million Omi max will give you that like approximate 500 MCP. It depends on the month. But once people, and that's one reason why some people might have bought Omi and staked it. But the MCP program has to follow along, improve its benefits as well. And don't forget about how the VVverse will fit into this. We did a video a long time ago speculating that Omi may be the currency of the VVverse, and maybe it still will be. But then again, following that same kind of concept about, you know, if it's a VV ran program, they may not actually want to have Omi as the main currency within that universe. They will probably allow, you know, basic credit card, right? Like if you want to buy something, you can use a basic credit card. So there are things they can do maybe within that network. They just, I think, are going to constantly be balancing kind of on this line of what is too much versus what is an acceptable line where you can't say it's reliant on it to exist. So the VVverse cannot ever, I think, be reliant only on Omi. because then it needs OMI to exist. But it doesn't mean it can't be a part of that ecosystem in some other extended way. And I want to mention one other thing too. There are laws and regulations that have come out to help clarify what you can and cannot do with loyalty points. So the NFT bill, I think it's called the new, and we're gonna do a video on this. I think it's called the New Frontiers of Technology Act. It does have discussion about how loyalty points from NFTs, rewards from NFTs, they're actually fair game. So when it comes to this whole topic about like whether, and I have no legal background, this is just from my own interpretation of the act. But when it comes to this whole idea of utility and rewards, it's actually fair game. You can give rewards and not be considered a security because it's literally stated that loyalty points and rewards are acceptable depending on what it is. So if, let's say, for example, you want to give rewards for having this OMI token like MCP, that's fair game, right? If MCP points are the loyalty points, so-called loyalty point of the VV app, but OMI is not. OMI will be outside of that app. You know, loyalty points will be MCP, most likely. Again, all speculation. We have no inside knowledge. But OMI will give you those loyalty points through an extended way. So I think this is what's going to end up happening. I think the writing's on the wall here. I don't think what we're saying is at all groundbreaking. I think if you researched this and been in this, you know, this with this VV app long enough, and you're seeing how things are going with the history of the OUP getting scrapped and rebranding and remessaging, I think it's going to be super obvious soon that that's kind of the approach that they're taking. But I'm sure they're going to surprise us with stuff, just like they did with the VV Comics app. No one saw the VV Comics app coming, and it just came out of nowhere. So I'm sure there's going to be things that come up that we're not even thinking of. But I think the underlying theory in all of this is going to be just don't allow your core app to be reliant on that token. And when if the app is structured in a way where it's dependent on the OMI ecosystem, you have the reserve, it goes to the vault, it goes to the burn. You kind of have an ecosystem that it's too connected. And I think that's why they're getting rid of the reserve. And then it leads to the next question. Will they get rid of the vault next? Like if you get the whole point of the vault was that when people bought gems, the reserve wallet, it drew from the reserve wallet and it went into the vault. And that's how you could figure out how many gems were purchased. And there used to be spreadsheets that you can see that information. And then when it went from the vault to the burn, that's how you know that the gem was spent. So there was a whole kind of process that you could basically read what was happening in the background. With that being eliminated, and I think the vault will, and that's a question I wouldn't mind asking, is now that the reserve wallet has been eliminated, what does that mean for the vault wallet? Will that also be eliminated next? So that's my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, if you pull up the next one here, I guess Pasternak's out of the loop, but he's asking what's up with OMI. Is it being burned? Is it good news for OMI? Haven't had a chance to look. Basically, the reserve wallet, the one that was backing the gem purchases, it was 220 billion OMI or something that were not in circulation anyway. So it does not affect the deflationary aspects of the token because only the tokens in circulation that are available to be purchased would affect that. So those were burnt and sent to the burn, or I don't know if they're done yet. I think they said there's a process to it, but that's going to be sent to the burn wallet, meaning that they can never re-enter. Like even if you have like a bad act or whatever coming in down the line, I guess it's just like safeguarding the fact that they just wanted to let you know that it was going to happen. I think there was talks about it happening in the past. I think Reese was one that mentioned that would happen at some point. So they're coming through on that promise that they made a while back. So that's good to see as well. I don't know if you want to move on here, Rob, just talk about a couple new items, or if you want to keep going.
No, you can go ahead and let's bring it up.
Yeah. So the couple things actually, the first one that I noticed is that today they announced Maserati is a new brand dropping on VV. I'm not sure when that drop is coming out, but I was thinking about it as you're talking there, and it's almost as if they're going to need a brand to come through to try and break these barriers down and say, like, I want to do it like this, and then I'll give you my license or something like that. Like they have so many IP and so much red tape and so much different people telling them what they can and can't do from all these IPs. It's almost like you need a big brand. Like imagine a Maserati comes in and says, listen, I want you to provide this XYZ utility to our collectibles. We're gonna utilize them in our ecosystem. Make sure you have third-party access to them or something like that. I feel like it's gonna almost take something like that to get it off to the races, and then maybe other brands start to pay attention to what they're able to do in that way. So Maserati coming, pretty cool. They already have Lamborghini, obviously. The garage is getting full.
Yeah, I think vehicles, we're seeing more of them now with the intro of Maserati. Another big brand reminds you, obviously, a Lambo right away. We talk about driving the Lambos, right? Maybe that's the utilities that people were thinking about. Those who do have access to the VVverse, perhaps, now that there's Maseratis too, that would be the main utility, just being able to drive them within that kind of metaverse environment. But I mean, again, VV is the king of IPs. They are able to bring on new IPs. This is another new one, this big brand. I'm sure this one will, for the users who are here, are probably going to be interested. If they have Lambo, they may be interested in picking up some Maseratis as well. But yeah, it's pretty cool. We don't know, I think, when a drop is coming, but something new is coming to VV, which is always good to see.
Yeah. And the other thing is they finally released what is in the mystery box, and it was this one here, Pop and Cub. If you want an NFT with the background still on it, I'm just joking. But I really hope they clean that up. You can take that out. But that was what you ended up getting. It looks like it's going for 209 gems. I think to complete that set, it was like 150-ish ballpark. So it was worth it. It was a worth it job. If we were still doing those spreadsheets, probably would have been a good thing for some people, but we haven't been doing those for a while. And on top of that, if you crafted, you got this and you got the 100,000 MCP or whatever it was there. But 200 people, if I don't even know if they sold out, actually, now that I think about it. But if they did sell out, 200 people are going to be upset because now the value of that ultra rare is down to $50, and I think it was like 120, 130 before the craft. So it is.
We did a video on this, right? Discussing how probably the 100,000 MCP was a little bit too much for the drop because of how hard it was. If you're actually a collector and you hold your stuff to get 100,000, I suspect that VV will probably take that feedback and maybe crank it down a little bit going forward with the MCP point reward, because the scarcity is usually enough. I think in most drops, if you have enough scarcity to actually sell it out, but as they do more and more scarce drops, it may not be as effective. So the MCP was a new thing. I think it was definitely super effective. We knew this drop was going to sell out for sure. And Happy Tree Friend seems to have a pretty big following on YouTube or Instagram. So it was a cool drop to do it with. But the MCP points you knew this was going to sell out right away. I think it was like 100 people. I think were able to get it.
So yeah, it looks like they sold about 3/4. So if there was a 300 or so on that Seeker Rare, then they sold probably about 1 or 220, and so maybe a little under 50% of the people who got the full set, if everybody got the full set with that ultra rare, were able to craft and do it. So looks like it might have been worth it to go for it, but we did not do that. And there's some crazy stuff going on in these pictures.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is you got some head getting cut off here, but they never die. They can never die.
Yeah, it's like Kenny from South Park.
Yeah, but
until he died.
The people who did this for sure, I think they'd be happy from this drop, right? Because if you did craft, you can basically resell, get your stuff back, and you got the 100,000 MCP. So I think if you use them at all, like, and maybe some of the whales that use the 1 million before, it's not, you just recover 1/10 by going for this drop. They go for most drops anyway, so this is probably a no-brainer for them. In terms of rewarding whales, which is something I think VV has to keep doing. The whales right now are so important to the app that if you can reward them, it's not a bad idea. It's just that balance. Where's that balance? I mean, if there was 10,000 MCP, would people be upset about it? If it was 50,000, would they? And I think probably that sweet spot number, it would be maybe 5 to 10,000, something in that range. But I guess they got to just keep trying. Throw the dart, do a drop, come back, check in.
Yeah, just looking over the market here generically. Some of these things like Fastos is $1.50. It's been a while since I looked through this. I looked at it the other day when you were off, and
good old Fastos, eh?
Fastos. I did sell them. I sold them eventually. I think last week or something, but it brought back memories.
Yeah, I remember Fastos, everybody was buying them. We had like 30% of the supply was what was that like? I can't
Remember we
remember
did
the
the
number.
wall of fastoses just to
It
find
was
people to be able to follow. That's why
it
we
was
did it, right? So you can follow each other on the app because that wasn't a function where you can search stuff. So
yeah.
let's look at this comment. We got a couple more comments here. Anyone know why the market floors are up? By the way, finally bought my 1000th collectible. I chose Seeker Rare ASM 50. Nice.
Oh, interesting.
No, I don't know. I didn't actually notice that the floors were up. I mean, is it on everything you're noticing that, or is it on the grails? I feel like some of these are down, like Homer and Bart. I feel like that's a low number for that, unless they were lower than that.
It's all relative.
Yeah.
Yeah, she must be referring to some point in time. So like it's like any market, you know, you refer 2 years versus if you refer 5 days, right? Like it's just a relative thing. But 1000 collectible, I mean, that's a pretty crazy collection you got going on. So congrats to Superstar VIP Fave Arthard here for that 1000 collectible. I mean, that's pretty impressive that you achieved that number over all this time.
Yeah.
So
this is a new feature too, by the way, Rob. They got the floor price built into the thumbnails now, which I think is a good feature. You don't have to click into it to see what the low price is. So that's pretty cool.
That's way better. That's way better. It makes it a lot easier going through.
Yeah. Ultra rare is at $395. Wow. I remember these things were going like 5-6K, like back in the day.
Yeah.
What if in the next 3 years, Vivi is the success we all hope for, and the main problem is the people are just impatient and short-sighted? Well, I think we can talk on this. I think where is your influx point? Like when does it take too long that you're waiting too long to onboard new users, or you're waiting too long that you let people who you onboarded leave? Like I think in this space, such a creative space, such a forward-thinking space, to have people in the space already before the utilities, before the VVverse, before all of these things that are promised, and have them hope and wait and dream for a space that they believed in, what they were told at DCon 2022, what they've been told in the white paper, what they've been told all of this time, to wait for it to come to fruition. If they're not here to see it out, who's gonna enjoy it? Who's gonna be telling their friends about it? You know what I mean? Like there's a point where you gotta deliver it. People are gonna wait for so long. There's people who love the project, love the idea. We're those people. We're still here. We made videos every single day on this for almost 3 years now. Almost 1,000 videos. That's this month, by the way, a couple of weeks. 1,000 straight days filming a video on this stuff. Like we love this stuff, all right? And there's people that we've seen come and people that we've seen go. We've seen people come in after us and leave before us. Like there's been that type of a turnover. I think the issue is that there's a feeling from the community that there's no communication, that maybe there's people that don't care within the team. We don't know. We haven't spoken to the team. It's great. I can't stress enough how important this AMA for Ecomi is. I think that's a great way to get it going. I know they've done one recently with, I think, Stacker, but now they're doing another one solely, it seems like, Omi. It's just there's a point in time where you can't afford to lose your core user base and then expect growth after the fact, because it's just like you start to look at Google reviews, you start to look at all these things, like it adds up and you can't start over. So what does it turn into? It's a good question, but I think in the next 3 years, if it's a success, then I think it'll be because of the people who are here who stuck around.
Well, I think the thing with this comment though is it goes back on the history, right? Like impatient and short-sighted, but about what? Like what are they impatient about? At the core of it, what are people impatient about? And I think when it comes down to it, you have people who are heavily invested that are impatient about the returns. Is an assumption, but the returns on their initial purchase price, right? I think when it comes down to it, that's what it is about this impatience and what makes VV successful. I mean, if you ask VV, they're going to tell you they're already successful. VV, I think, and they are. There's no denying it. VV has made an app that has been successful. And we talk about the execution of VV, right? They ultimately did execute on their original plan, which was an app that will sell digital collectibles. Now, there was the OMI token component to it, but putting that aside, they wanted to sell digital collectibles, and they did that. They've also, I think, from a revenue perspective, have done great. They've made plenty of sales over these years. So I don't think VV needs to wait 3 years to be successful. I think the point of Crazy Dan's question, and thank you for the comment, is that the people involved, the community involved, think that to be successful, their collectibles that they purchase have to appreciate in value and be worth, multiples more than what they bought it at. So the main problem here, I don't think, are maybe the impatience and short-sightedness. I think the main problem is ultimately who's doing this for what reasons. If you're, let's say, like Aza, who says that he actually likes to buy what he likes, then he's not impatient and short-sighted at all because he's buying what he likes, right? He purchased what he likes and that's it. Whereas if you're somebody who is buying these with the expectation of profit, then you might be impatient and short-sighted because you're questioning, well, what's going to happen long-term with this app? We know that the majority of people we've interacted with, at least what we've observed, they really do care about the floors, right? They really do care about what the price of these things are. So that's why they may be impatient and short-sighted.
Yeah, in 3 years, maybe the target audience is children. Maybe they become COPA compliant. Maybe they have a completely different type of audience that's utilizing the app to maintain sales, to keep sales up, to do it that way. Maybe it doesn't mean appreciation of asset value. Maybe it just means enjoyment of the collectibles, enjoyment of the ecosystem, enjoyment of the VV-verse, whatever that is. And that would be successful if there are people utilizing and people are still buying drops and whatever. Rob's right. That's still successful. So, yeah, I think it depends on how you look at it. But if you mean in the next 3 years, if VV is the success we all hope for in terms of appreciation of value, I don't know. I don't know how we see that play out with the things we got laid out here, because we don't understand where we're going with it. We don't understand what they want to do in the next 3 years because we don't have a roadmap. We don't have any of the direction. Things might come at us randomly, like today we got Maserati drop. But how do you believe and say, look, I want to sink more and more money in? Like, there's people cap out. How do you say I want to sink in another 10 grand into this app if you don't know what they're going to do? What are the plans? Is it just drop after drop? And VV-verse, like, is that it? What is VV-verse at this point? Is VV-verse the same as we thought it would be? Obviously, it's not the same as we thought it would be with Omi because we've seen all the tons of developments on that. But yeah, I mean, there's just so much that could change in the next 3 years. If they do start to give some clarity and start to deliver on that clarity, yeah, I mean, everybody's here for it. We want to see them be successful. Grail's pretty much the last 48 hours, Spider-Man's and golden moments. You got to start DMing Arthart, finding out what are the go-to collectibles. Superman's up, Todd's up. Some OGs are up. All right.
What's Todd at? I'm curious. What's Todd at?
Find out right now. Well, he's usually like around 300-400, no?
I think the last time I checked it, I think it was at around 400, maybe even 450. But it's been a while.
Yeah, 440. So he's probably
440. Okay.
I'll never sell my Fastos. It will remind me of the wall of Fastos good times. If you watch this channel, I've sold everything and bought everything and sold everything and bought everything a million times. Never cashed out though on VV. Never cashed out. I have every single gem still in the app. Buying the jackets for $100 with free stand pieces and gold stands has done very well too. That's a Comic-Con thing, I think, right?
I think so, yeah.
I mean, Comic-Con exclusives is like a hack, I feel like, because only certain people can get them. Other people want them. But yeah, I wonder what the numbers are like on that.
All right, Pasternak, if you put in the hard time and work and studying the market, you do very well. People want to buy and make more money without putting in work, for sure. I mean, who wouldn't? I guess if you can make an easy buck, why not? But it looks like Pasternak has had some success, so that's good that you had. And Crazy Dan says, thanks, guys. I agree with your point. I think it's all perspective, right? So I think from your comment, I think that was from a perspective of that price appreciation, but we can't deny that there is another, from VV's perspective, it doesn't really matter to them whether prices appreciate or not. What matters to them is they can sell primary drops, which they can do and they have done, as we just saw right now with the last Happy Tree Friends.
Yep.
Okay, so I mean, go ahead, Joe.
That's it. I think I agree with you on that, and I don't got anything else on this topic. But if you guys have anything else or you want to talk about any of that stuff, you can always reach out on Discord, on Twitter, on whatever means you want in the comments. It's getting late over here. It's like midnight, so I think we wrap it up here, Rob.
Yeah, guys, let us know in the comments below after this video what you guys think. Is ignorance bliss? Also, appreciate you all joining us today. Loving all the comments. Doesn't matter. Give us comments because comments give ideas, and ideas lead to more videos. So appreciate you all. Now, if you haven't already, before you go, don't forget, become a superstar. Smash the subscribe button. Join the Superstar fam. Hit the bell notification to get every single video every single day. Also, do Superstar VIPs, $200 a month. Start beside your name. Ask for special giveaways, guys. Thank you so much. Take care. See you next one. Bye bye.